So can you get as good a results with medications as you can with a hair transplant? Now, some of you might be thinking this is a ridiculous question. The answer is very obvious. But it's not as obvious as you'd think, because after researching this for the last 3 weeks, I have the answer, and it's not the answer I expected. Let's have a look. So to make this a fair test, I've collected results that I've verified, that I've checked, and I'm confident that these results are due to medications. And I was able to also specifically narrow down or identify the medications these clients are using. So let's get into the video, and then I'll tell you what I think. So let's look at these two cases. This is for topical minoxidil. So this is the stuff you apply, not the oral stuff. And this patient here, I believe, has been using it for 12 weeks, which is 3 months. And you can see the crown has really improved. I would say the balding area has shrunk by at least 60%, maybe a bit more. So really good improvement in the crown. And at the front, there's the improvement is harder to see, I'll be honest. But maybe there is some improvement. Yeah, I think there's some improvement, but not as noticeable as with the crown. Now let's move on to the second patient who's been using it for 24 weeks, which is 6 months, and the improvements are much more noticeable. First of all, the crown is looking so much better. Look at that. I mean, I would say that's a 95% improvement. You can barely see there was any baldness there. And if we go to the front, the front, I would say, looks as good as a hair transplant. Seriously, this is sensational improvement. But then again, you can argue that he's had minimal hair loss to begin with at the front. For some reason, it kind of got worse before it got better. Because the starting picture, which I assume is this, is maybe a bit thinner. The second picture may be a bit thinner than the start. Anyway, the improvements are fantastic with the topical minoxidil for this patient. But then again, he's been using it for 6 months, so maybe that's why. Now let's look at oral minoxidil, which is what everyone is obsessed with these days. Still not the biggest fan of oral minoxidil. We just don't have enough information about it long term, but there you go. People want to risk it, they can go and risk it. This is a patient who's been using it for 24 weeks, and we can see the improvement with the crown, and it's definitely some improvement. I would say at least 50% shrinkage in terms of the balding area, maybe more. So really good improvement with the oral minoxidil. But I'm noticing that minoxidil doesn't seem to be as good in improving the crown as it is with the hairline. It seems to be much better improving the hairline than the crown. By the way, if you're interested in these medications, or if you're using them but you're thinking maybe I need better quality ones, then I have my own hair loss service. We ship worldwide, and the unique thing about how we do it is we make every product to order. So our shelves are empty. When we get an order, that's when we make the product fresh, which means you get the highest potency possible. If you're interested, the links are below the video to order. Otherwise, let's get back into the video. Let's look at another patient using minoxidil topical. I'm not sure if it's just pure minoxidil or mixed with something else. This gentleman, he's been using it for, I think, is it 12 weeks? Or it doesn't really say. I think it might be 6 months. And you can see the improvement is incredible. I would say 99% improvement. And his thinning was actually starting from kind of the mid-scalp before he started the treatment with minoxidil. And now it's there's barely any thinning. There's just a little bit of corners is still thin, but amazing improvement. But notice the hairline hasn't actually moved forward a lot, but it's just so much thicker and healthier looking. And if you look at it from the side, you can see the improvement. I mean, I would say, arguably, you guys might disagree. I would say this is as good as a hair transplant. It looks as good as a hair transplant. If this person came to me and said, oh, I had a hair transplant a year ago, I would believe it, because that's how good it looks. The only reason I wouldn't believe it is because you can still see the lines are a bit fuzzy, because with transplants you tend to get sharper lines, especially at the front. I think this guy looks a lot more like a hair transplant, and this looks like a hair transplant. It's that good. Now let's look at afro hair with regular minoxidil use. So this gentleman has been using minoxidil for 100 days, I believe, and this is what he was like before starting treatment. So this is day 1, day 17, day 43. Things are gradually improving. He's using it every day. I mean, he's got a large, bold area. I would say this is a Norwood 4, maybe 5. So pretty advanced case. And I don't think he's a good candidate for hair transplant, to be honest, because of the nature of his donor hair. But he's getting good improvements. And this is day 60. So hair is coming back. Day 73, there's a lot more hair. And day 100, wow, I mean, just compare the start. Just compare where he was at the start to where he is at day 100. Again, I mean, I wouldn't believe if he said he had a hair transplant, but I would be amazed by the progress that he made. I mean, this is incredible, the improvement in thickness. And I reckon if he carries on for another 100 days, I think you would struggle to tell if he was ever bald. So these medications, they do work. They do work. Now, let's look at another case, this time with finasteride, not with minoxidil. So this guy has been on 1 milligrams oral finasteride for 1 year. 25-year-old. And at the beginning, you can see it's kind of diffuse thinning, worse in the frontal area here. And he's probably got some crown thinning as well. And after 1 year on 1 milligram finasteride, that, don't know what anyone else thinks, that is as good as a hair transplant. It looks as good as a hair transplant. And that is an amazing result. And notice the kind of natural fuzziness of the hairline. This is something I notice a lot with people who are on minoxidil and finasteride. With hair transplants, you have like really sharper lines at the front here. But with these treatments, you have this kind of gradual growth of the hairline. Let's have a look at the next case. So this is a patient before treatment. Again, really diffuse thinning, especially in the mid-scalp, just behind the hairline. And he's been on finasteride even longer, 14 months. And I think he had a haircut. His hair growth is so good, he had a haircut. Again, I'll struggle to, if someone said this guy used to look like this, I wouldn't believe them, because this looks like a completely different head to this. I mean, really amazing improvement. Let's have a look at another guy. This guy, again, lots of thinning, especially behind the hairline in the mid-scalp. And his hair is actually growing long and thick. And he's 39 years old, on this for 19 months, so a lot longer than the other two. Again, amazing improvement. Let's have a look at one more. This guy, 20-year-old on finasteride, 1.6 milligrams, so a slightly higher dose than the 1 milligrams of the other guys. And he's been on it for 1 year. For some reason, he hasn't had as much improvement as the other two. He's definitely had some improvement, because here you can see his scalp is a lot more easily seen here, and there's definitely more darkness here. But he hasn't had as good an improvement as these other guys. He hasn't had as good an improvement as this guy here, for example. So it seems like some people are better responders than others. Let's have a look at another case. This guy, 34-year-old male, on this 5 years of finasteride 1.25 milligrams and regain 5%. He's definitely made really big improvements. I mean, here he's almost completely bald, and now he's got some hair. But I mean, considering he's been on this for 5 years, plus he's been on regain, plus he's been taking 1 1/4 pill, 1.25 milligrams of finasteride. I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit mean, but I was expecting a lot more thickness, especially at the front. So we can see from this that some people's genetics are definitely stronger and harder to keep in check than others. Some people are, I used to believe that back in the old days in the forums when I was reading, some people used to talk about good responders and bad responders, and I always used to think that's such BS. But maybe that is true. Some people really do respond a lot better than others. This gentleman, a lot of thinning at the front, 44 years old. What is he on? 3 years of finasteride, 1.25 milligrams, and on minoxidil 5%, and bang, absolutely fabulous. This, I don't think he would have got as good a hair transplant result as he had with the finasteride. It's really good. And the other difference I noticed with results from treatments rather than hair transplants, they look a lot more natural. It's amazing. The way the hair, you can never beat the aesthetics of the hair growing back naturally. Hair transplants cannot compete with that. Whoa, let's back up. This guy, star of the show so far. Before treatment, A lot of thinning in the corners, maybe some thinning at the front, and afterwards, wow, that's a big jungle of hair. On finasteride, 1 milligrams, minoxidil, 5%. I think this is the best result we've seen so far. But then again, he probably started with the least thinning, so really, really good results. Let's have a look at one more. This guy, wow, this actually looks like a hair transplant. But apparently he's a 29-year-old male on 13 months of finasteride 1.25 and regained 5%. And look at all the hair. This is amazing. I think this is the best result we've seen, considering where he started from. I mean, here he's just completely bald, and it seems that the hair just came out of nowhere. Wow, it's incredible. Now let's look at some afro hair results. This gentleman, 45 years old, thinning at the front and behind the hairline here, and after 2 years of finasteride, 1.67 and regained 5%. I would say some decent improvement, nothing crazy, but then again, I can't see his crown. So maybe he's had amazing improvement at the crown. But the front is decent improvement, but I would say, I'll be honest, like nothing spectacular. So again, it just seems that some people, especially people who are kind of with advanced hair loss, tend to respond fairly, kind of the response with them tends to be quite average. So there's definitely good responders and bad responders. Wow. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. He started with virtually bald at the front. And now, after 3 years and 3 months of finasteride 1.25 and regain 5%, this is what you call a hyper responder. This is incredible. Yeah, I think this is 100%. This is as good as a hair transplant, if not better. Incredible. I mean, he has no hair here. There's no hair. Well, barely any hair. And look here, he's even toying with us and combing it forward and showing us a fringe. Get out of here. Now let's have a look at another afro case. This guy has got the extensive hair loss at the front with a little island here. And he's 29, and after 4.5 years, wow, some of these people are not messing about. They really do stick the course. 4.5 years of finasteride 1.25 and regained 5%. He's got a very good head of hair. Very, very, very good response. I think he'll be happy with this. I don't think he needs to rush into a hair transplant. He can save his money a bit longer. Let's do one more. 30-year-old guy, male, before treatment, some kind of diffuse thinning all over. You can see that the thinning goes back all the way to the crown, all the way at the front. After 13 months of finasteride, can I see massive improvement? No. Can I see some improvement? Yes. So I think he needs to give it another year maybe, and see. But he's probably like an average responder. I don't know. So to answer the question at the start of the video, can you get as good results with medications as you can with hair transplants? The answer, in my opinion now, is 100% yes. And what makes the difference is two things from what I can see. Number one, well, it's actually three things. Number one, if you pick the right combination of medications that suit your case. Number two is if you are consistent. There's no point using it 1 month and skipping 3 months. And using it long term as well, that's another one. And number three, which you can't really do much about, if you are a hyper responder or a slow responder. There is no doubt in my head, unfortunately I can't find the evidence in terms of the studies, that some people respond naturally better to certain hair loss medications than others. But from the cases we saw, it's very clear.